Welcome to our podcast. Garrett Campbell is our guest today. Garrett Campbell's a longtime friend of ours. He now resides in Chicago and is a musician by trade. Is that correct?
Not by trade, but Jesus, I guess by trade I'm like a hobbyist, you know,
Okay.
if that means anything. Because like what I'd say I do for work is like whatever job I can find that still allows me to do what I like to do, you know.
Totally understand that.
If it,
Um, but I think as far as okay, so maybe by trade isn't the best word to use, but you are a musician, and that is what you're pursuing. Is that correct?
yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, like when I said doing what I like to do, I meant pretty much like play the music that I like to play and meet other musicians and stuff like that.
Garrett, I've always wondered this. If you could be any musician that has ever lived, who would it be, and why?
If I could be any musician,
Like, who is your idol, musician idol?
oh, well, I guess, man, that's kind of a tough question because like there are so many different reasons to admire different musicians, I think, and so like the person who I idolize right now, which is I even think that's kind of like a weird thing to say, but um, the guy that I look up to a lot right now is John Dwyer, and he's the front man for this band called the OCs. Um, and they're like a garage psych band out of LA. Actually, they're from San Francisco, but they now reside in LA. And I think the reason for that is just because they kind of trace the line between like, in a way, like garage rock and jazz, just because they're always trying to do something new. I feel like, which is, you could say that about every musician. Well, not every musician, but most musicians. Um, but I've just really latched onto that band, and they're very prolific, um, very cool. I just like the music a lot.
And that was the OCs. Is that what that was?
Yep.
Look them up.
Are they out of Orange County or Los Angeles?
Well, they were originally from San Francisco, and so I'm not sure where that would put them. And I don't really know the geography too well of LA, so I don't have a great answer for that. But I think LA.
Okay, cool.
Although, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that OC is what people call Orange County.
Mr. California over here.
Yeah, and well, they used to go by Orinoco Crash Suite or something, and then I think Orange County something, but they were still in San Francisco while they were going by that. And now it's like, I don't know, they've changed their name like 30 different times. More like 7, but you know.
Yeah.
So,
are they kind of? You were talking about them doing.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they do a lot of experimental stuff, or they kind of. I don't know if you use the word experimental, but are they kind of an inspiration for some of your stuff that you've been doing online, like with your SoundCloud and like Green Book? I don't know if it's SoundCloud actually. I think it's a website sort of like that. Green Book Fridays.
Yeah, it's so I was calling it the Green Book series. I've actually changed the name of that. I made a post about that, but so it's on Bandcamp. But yeah, I would say that. Geez, I've just kind of like opened up a bunch of different questions right now. So I changed the name of that because it's like that term, Green Book, is actually kind of a historical term for African Americans.
Yeah.
There was this, I don't know if you read the post, but it was a travel guide written by Victor Hugo Green. And it was basically like steering people away from like sundown towns and discriminatory hotels and like restaurants and like auto mechanics and stuff. So I actually changed the name of my Green Book series to what Contemplation, Conceptualization, and Expression book, which is just kind of like why it exists to begin with. In terms of answering your question on like whether they're an inspiration to that, I would say in a lot of ways they are, just because so much of like the way I play guitar, I feel like is just mimicking in a way what I hear, and I've just listened to them like so much. There's just a very like definite 2 and 4, and that kind of comes from um, in most of the stuff that I've played. That kind of comes from what's referred to as the pulse in music, and basically, I should like Google this a lot more before I start talking about it. But they do a lot of stuff that's kind of reminiscent of this band called Can, who was really big back in like the 70s, 80s, I think. Not super knowledgeable on Can, but they experimented a lot with like sort of garage and krautrock. And krautrock is this very pulse oriented sort of like rock music. Um, and so I would say that that's kind of like a huge influence on kind of the music that I would like to make, because I get down with that, you know, got a good dancing rhythm.
Okay, I was I was gonna ask. I was ever since I've known you, you've been like a musician. If you're okay with us calling you that, I don't know if that's like a. Is that okay? So could you like go through your like when you discovered you wanted to do that and like kind of your major steps throughout getting to where you are now?
Um, so I guess I've always wanted to like play music. You know, I first started playing drums when I was in the 5th grade. I joined the 5th grade band back in Garnett, um, and I had a like cousin who was also a drummer, and so he you know played drum kit, and like I just thought it was the coolest thing. So eventually, I think after being in the 5th grade band for a year, I got my own drum kit. I actually, for my birthday, my parents bought his old drum kit and gave that to me. Um, and I didn't really take on to it too well until about like a year or two later, where I started getting really into metal, because like metal music, the drums in it are just super high energy, super fast. I think I really liked Slipknot for a while, and Joey Jordison is like one of the most famous drummers of our generation. You know, not to say that he's better than like Neil Peart or something, but like in terms of like fame and esteem, while we were like 12 or 13, he was kind of up there by comparison. Um, so I started doing that. It wasn't until I got to college that I really wanted to join a band, and like just couldn't, because I spent so much time doing homework and um, just kind of dicking around, taking a lot of naps. And so after that, I mean, I finished up college and still hadn't done anything musically, and was like pretty upset with myself, and had decided like the only way that I can really sort of make the music that I want to hear and want to play without without like having to compromise on that is to learn other instruments and start writing my own shit. So that's basically what I tried to do, and it's just been a long process because I have more time on the drums than I have on, you know, the guitar or the bass or like singing for sure. And so I just kept, you know, just kept trying, you know, the 10,000 hour rule, just fake it till you make it. And that's sort of why I started doing this this book challenge, writing a song a week, because I was always just sort of spinning my wheels on trying to get new ideas out. And basically, this is to force myself to actually exercise the skill of making choices and putting different pieces of a song together. And since I have a deadline each week, I can't jack around and just like this riff for 10 minutes and then not be able to do anything with it and save it on my hard drive like everything else.
I've been trying to keep up with that, and it's pretty inspiring, honestly, to get something out there every week and to see that you have that schedule going. Like, wow.
Thank you.
He's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not all very well put together. I mean,
you know,
like my first song was I don't know. I feel like I learned something new either about like my focus or about like making it sound better or just different textures each time I do it, you know.
So, what do you like? What is your end goal? Do you want to be like like you want to make your own band? Do you want to be join a band and be drummer, or what do you want to do?
That's I don't really know. I think like I would I think I would like to lead my own band one day. It would be really cool to like play a show with the OCs or like Ty Segall or really any of the bands that I'm into, because I like a lot of different stuff from like garage rock to surf rock to like alt country. I'm in an alt country band right now called Saint Marlboro, and I play drums for them. And we're hitting the studio October 16th to record an album.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I get to take some time off work to do that. Fucking tight.
How long does that take to record an album? Like, how long would it usually?
Oh, we're gonna really you can do it in like 2 days. You know, because you want to, if you're like good musicians, you're gonna go into the studio with your like songs already pretty oiled up, and like you're gonna nail your first takes, and then basically after that you would have to retrack. Then you want kind of like a day to like focus in on little things. But we're taking 4 days, and I think I've never recorded an album before. You know, this is my first actual. I mean, I was in a band in Lawrence before I moved to Chicago that really just ended too soon because, you know, I just decided that I wanted to get my ass up here. But yeah, it's going to be my first time actually recording an album. But these guys have done it one other time. They have an album up on Spotify that I'm not in, but is fucking awesome. Like I really like it.
What made you choose Chicago?
Oh, so I was dating this girl. I actually started dating this girl who was the ex-girlfriend of this guy that I was trying to make a band with in Lawrence. And he, yeah.
I'm invested.
He hates me now. I don't know if he's over. so yeah, I was dating this girl, and she moved up here to be close to her family because she has a brother that lived up here. Um, Her brother is actually uh, he's a really cool guy. He's a musician. He was in a couple bands up here. His girlfriend is the manager of this venue called the Hideout, which is a really long-standing venue, really cool small venue in Chicago. Um, and so she moved up here to be close to him, and her mom moved up here too. And like, what I was about a month away from moving up here, and she had come back to like visit. I don't know. There's some shit that was like rough for her up here for a little bit, and we ended up breaking up while she was visiting. And I was like a month away from moving up here anyway. So after telling everyone, "Oh yeah, I'm moving to Chicago in November," I decided not to like pussy out of that and have to tell everyone who asks, "Oh, I thought you were moving." Like, "Oh yeah, I changed my mind because I got dumped." I was like, this is probably for the best, and decided to do it anyway. And I'm glad I did. Uh, it's been pretty fucking awesome.
Damn.
What's the
So you just
music scene like with the pandemic going on? How does that change the scene?
It's pretty scary. So there are some states that are like doing stuff, having shows, pretty small shows. Chicago still has like a capacity limit on gatherings of like 50 people. So there aren't any shows in Chicago except for like some live streams. I actually, right before the pandemic, I was interning as a stagehand at a couple different venues called Lincoln Hall and Shuba's. And Lincoln Hall is a venue that's actually doing some live broadcasts of different bands. I think tomorrow night, maybe, I think it's tomorrow, they have one of my favorite bands called, favorite Chicago bands called Deeper, that I actually got to do I got to like intern for one of their shows at Lincoln Hall, which is pretty neat. So there's like stuff like that that's going on, just live stream stuff. Other than that, I mean, most bands that I know took a hiatus in March to just like socially distance, and then started meeting up again in like late May or something. I actually moved from the apartment that I first found when I moved into Chicago to a DIY space, which is, if there wasn't a pandemic going on, we'd be hosting like 2 or 3 shows in our living room per month. And the thing about like what's different about the music scene and scary is like there were so many venues in Chicago where one of the things that I loved when I first moved here is you could go see live music any night of the week and like without fail just have a good time. But so many of those venues just aren't going to be able to open up again once it's safe to do so, because they're already out of business, and it's just the venues that aren't out of business still have to hold on for another, 3, 6, 9 months, who knows,
Yeah.
12 months.
Awful. That's awesome though. That space that you're living in, that sounds really, really cool. I mean, aside from you're not.
Yeah. It is. I feel really lucky to have stumbled upon it. I was trying to move anyway, and then I saw a Facebook post that's like, "Hey, we have a room opening up." And so then I checked the place out. Played Super Smash Brothers Melee with my current roommates, and then
Rest is history.
Was that like the you had to beat them to like qualify to move in or something, or is that how they?
Nah, they were just doing that, and I was like, oh, I should prove to these people that I'm like a normal human being and play some Melee. And I don't think I beat anybody, but we had some pretty close matches. I actually used to play a lot of Melee with my college roommates, so but they were always like way better than me, you know.
I'm terrible at Melee.
Well, you're not a good gamer.
Whoa,
Damn.
whoa.
Damn.
I am decent at shooters. Everything else, yeah, I'm trash.
Damn, I've never been to Chicago. It sounds awesome though.
You know why you're good at shooters is because the government wants you to be good at shooters.
So, Garrett, for those viewers, let me get this straight. So, you got your chemical engineering degree from KU, you got a chemical engineering job, and then you realized your passion was music, and you said, fuck this job, and you left, and you're chasing it, right? Pretty much the summary of what's going on now?
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty accurate summary. So I didn't get a chemical engineering job though. I got like a state job that was like civil engineering, reviewing water plans. Yeah, it was a good job. It paid well. I hated it. You know, all the good things about a job that you can have right there. But yeah, I just decided like that's not what I wanted to be spending my time doing, you know. And it's not about the money for me. I'm the kind of guy who like I don't care how much money I have in the bank as long as I can keep a stable income, you know, and not go homeless and still do the shit that I like. So like I'd be pretty happy doing yard work over the summer and like playing shows, you know.
Yeah, I admire that. I really, I mean, any office job, or any, I don't know. Like honestly, I used to do landscape, and I do miss, working outside, and I wish I was more passionate about something, and or had the balls to just quit and go chase it. That's what life's too short to be stuck not doing what you want.
Well, isn't that exactly what you did, Arthur? I mean, that sounds kind of like what I've heard anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, a lot of this is resonating with my experience as well. Yeah, I worked for a year as a recruiter for my national fraternal organization, and I had thousands of conversations with young men trying to recruit them to be a member of the organization and start up new chapters. And those conversations really revolved around what they wanted to do with the rest of their lives. And it really, got me really amped to do something that I actually wanted to do. And something I've always been passionate about was acting, and I love movies, and yeah, and then I ended up having, through the fraternity, having connections out in Los Angeles, and yeah, I've been worked at a coffee shop for a year, and then worked as a tour guide at Paramount, and have just been making short films and doing plays and stuff out in LA.
I just realized all three of you have
Right
done
on.
that.
Yeah,
And
why?
I'm the only corporate sellout here.
Yep.
Huh. I'm the only soulless son
Wait,
of a
Drew
bitch
did it
left
too?
in this chat.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
quit my job 3 weeks ago to pursue graphic and web
This.
design. So yeah,
Nice.
see where it goes.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah.
So I'm the only soulless shill left. I need to quit my job.
Well, some people's motivations are different, and I think I don't know, like if you're content and happy, it's like there's no reason to question your happiness, like yeah, I just wasn't happy doing what I was doing. I got tired of it.
That's the bottom line. Yeah. I mean, I wish I found something that I could make I just need to I don't know, find something, but I admire all of you guys. That's really cool that you guys can just, you guys are doing that.
Yeah, I've heard that like a lot of that is freelance, um, you know, for
Yeah.
design stuff. Um,
Yeah. It's just like any
but
other like creative field, I guess. You're kind of taking a risk, but once you establish yourself, you're, get referred, build a reputation. Yep.
It's probably pretty freeing, right? Like just all that built up shit, especially if you work there long enough, you built up shit, and then eventually you're just like, you know what? Fuck the patriarchy, right?
Yep.
And just the reins come off. Someday when I'm 62 and retire.
oh, retiring early.
Yeah, 63. Sorry. Uh, so, Garrett, do you plan on where do you want to end up? Like, do you want to stay in Chicago, or like, where do you want to live and do music at, like, and like your final stay or whatever?
That's a tough one because, like, uh, I mean, I had planned on moving to LA. Like, I had talked to Arthur about this probably like a year or two ago, maybe like a year and a half to 2 years ago. I was pretty much dead set on moving to LA to pursue music, and um, yeah, I just got caught up in this whole like girl thing and moved to Chicago. And Chicago's been really great. Like the music scene in Chicago is very, very diverse, very interesting, very. It's cool. But there are like so many of the musicians and folks that I look up to live in LA. So I imagine someday I may find myself like just saying, I don't know, like why not go to LA? Why not try this out there? But I really think to do that, especially being 26 now, you kind of have to. You can't just drop into places in your mid 20s a lot and expect to make it without having some sort of like backing reputation or something. So I think um, writing what I have right now with like Saint Marlboro, not saying that we're gonna make it huge, but I do think that music is good and has the potential to, um, make a name for me as well as like once you have a band, and especially if you're a drummer in a city like Chicago or LA, any music city, um, people are always looking for a good drummer. So just having that sort of reputation opens up a lot more people to play with. You can find the kind of musicians and bands that you're looking for. Um, so I think, you know, in terms of where I want to end up, I don't know yet. I'm just happy being able to like jam at my house right now. You know, like I bought a pretty cool amp and a pretty sick guitar that I love the hell out of both of them. Like last, uh, I don't know, I bought them as like Christmas presents to myself, and it's been great.
Are you able to play drums in your house as well? Or are you like close to people that you get noise complaints or?
No, that's the cool thing about that's one of the cool things about this place is So it's actually, we're on like a storefront street. There's an empty, like an abandoned um, storefront, and next door is like a restaurant or something. So we have enough distance and separation being on the second floor and not directly connected to the building that's right next to us. And then also being next to an alley that people can't really hear stuff too much. And then it's like a DIY show space. I mean, they normally would start shows at like 10 at night and go till like, midnight or 1, and haven't had any complaints because it's just, for the most part, yeah, no one's bothered by it. And so I can practice drums in the next room. I can, play guitar and record guitar, um, jam with friends. It's really awesome.
I really want to come to Chicago and check that out. That sounds awesome.
Once
It
this,
is. Sorry.
no, Garrett, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Wyatt, shut up.
Well, there are quite a few. There are quite a few places like that in Chicago, and I actually, so while I was visiting my parents over the weekend, I was doing a little bit of Instagramming, as one does, and I was thinking that if I were to move to LA, the best move that I would have in terms of like getting established as a musician is to start in the DIY scene, because so many people, there are so many fucking bands in these towns, and there are so many venues, but you have to like play shows and get a name before you can actually play a venue. So the best way to like get into that is to connect with your DIY scene. And so I searched like LA DIY, the hashtag on Instagram, and I found a couple things, but not a whole lot. So there are definitely, there's a DIY scene for every big city. You just gotta look for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd never heard of it until, I mean, I've heard of like home concerts, but I'd never heard of like the term DIY. So that's really cool. And also, just extending this to you, anytime you want to come out to LA and visit and check out whatever you want to check out, you have space to crash.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Once this COVID shit gets over with, if it ever does get over with, let us know, Garrett, when you're playing, and we're gonna make a trip up there. Even if Arthur can't make it, Drew and I are going. Fuck it, guys. Let's quit our shit and start a band. Garrett, I'll be the lead singer.
Yep. Garrett's the only one that knows how to play an instrument well. Let's start a band. Might as well.
Yeah. Drew and I are both.
Yeah. I can play rhythm guitar, and Arthur can also play rhythm guitar.
I can sing monotone. Oh my god.
That's so if we have 2 rhythm guitarists and a monotone singer, I think that's post-punk.
There we go.
So we'd be right in that alley.
Why are some people
but you guys said you're gonna.
Sorry, Garrett.
Why what?
Why wasn't I born with a beautiful voice? Why do I sound like shit when I talk? So fucking nasally. I just want to have a beautiful voice. All I ever want. I'm done bitching about my life. All right, go
Garrett,
on.
what were you saying?
Well, I'll circle back to that in a second, I guess. I was gonna say, whenever we do start playing shows, we'll probably book a show down in. I mean, we're almost definitely gonna go book a show at the Replay in Lawrence, because like I worked there for a year and a half, and as long as the dude that hates me doesn't like, as long as he's not working sound that night or doesn't like set our car on fire, we're absolutely gonna play a show in Kansas sometime. so you guys wouldn't have to drive to Chicago to see us play.
But we will. If
But
that's what it takes.
all right. And then going back to your nasally voice thing, I've always felt the same way about my voice. And what I'd say to that is, pretty much everyone hates their voice when they start singing, and you just gotta embrace it and just push it to how you want it to sound, you know?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
No. Don't mislead me.
Okay, noted. Damn.
I just said everyone hates their voice. I said everyone hates your voice.
Yeah, everybody hates their voice, but everybody hates your voice, Wyatt. Well, I'm just gonna mute myself the rest of the show. Boys, continue on.
Well, is there anything else you want to get in there, Garrett? Anything you're like into lately? Any shout outs? Social media plugs? Anything?
Oh. I feel like I've talked a lot already, but I'm really trying to start drawing again. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can search Garrett Shambles or GRTCMBL and follow me on that. But other than that, no, I think that's everything.
Okay. Anything else,
Yes, man.
Arthur or Wyatt?
I miss you. It's true.